Well, the day after President Trump's Florida home was raided by the FBI, something major and critical happened that you desperately need to be aware of, especially in light of everything that is going on with the Biden administration. But before I dive into it, just a reminder, check out getthetea.com/Lisa. Now, Get the Tea offers organic, non-GMO teas, and these teas are made right here in the United States. If you're looking for a way to kind of flush out your gut and clean it, then this product is absolutely for you. And right now, you can get $15 off the Coral Sea and Super Tea that you see there on the screen. I've got and take the Coral Sea personally, and it has really helped boost my immune system. But check it out at getthetea.com/Lisa and use the coupon code Lisa to get free shipping. All right, with that, let's dive into this critical event that happened the day after Donald Trump's home was raided. And this is key to everything. I believe it just really puts the puzzle pieces together. Take a look at this article on breitbartnews.com. The FBI seized Representative Scott Perry's cell phone one day after Mar-a-Lago raid. It goes on. Representative Scott Peter, chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, said the FBI seized his cell phone just one day after the raid on former President Donald Trump's home. Perry was approached with a warrant for his cell phone by 3 FBI agents while he was traveling with his family on Tuesday, according to the Fox News report. And here's what he said, quote, "This morning while traveling with my family, 3 FBI agents visited me and seized my cell phone," Perry said in a statement to Fox News. "They made no attempt to contact my lawyer, who would have made arrangements for them to have my phone if that was their wish." He goes on, "As with President Trump last night, the Department of Justice chose this unnecessarily and aggressive action instead of simply contacting my attorneys. These kinds of banana republic tactics should concern every citizen, especially considering the decision before Congress this week to hire 87,000 new IRS agents to further persecute law-abiding citizens. Although no motive for the seizure of Perry's phone has been reported, the Philadelphia congressman has been a target of the Democrat-led J6 Select Committee for months. Now, why is this important? And that's the very key here. Why is this important? Well, for starters, we know that the FBI, the DOJ, and the Biden administration has been harassing Trump supporters, his officials, and his lawyers for some time, right? They went after Roger Stone, Steve Bannon, Michael Flynn, Pete Navarro, Rudy Giuliani, and many, many others. And now, obviously, they've gone after Trump multiple times as well, from Russia Hoax 1, Russia Hoax 2, impeachment 1, 2, the whole 9 yards. It's like a never-ending Trump derangement syndrome, but now they've raided his house in Mar-a-Lago. But immediately, the very next day after all the outrage from conservatives and Republicans, they were bold enough to take another step, kind of like smearing it in our faces, to go ahead and say, hey, we're going to, well, steal or seize, I'm going to say seize the phone of Scott Perry. We're just going to take his phone from him. Now, why would they be so emboldened after all the outrage? You see, because it shows that the Democrats and the FBI decide, aside from the fact that they're desperate to hype up their base and desperate to hype up, well, Trump supporters in order to get them to act out in some way, shape, or form. By the way, I expanded on that in yesterday's report here on Restricted. It was one of my reasons why I predicted they would do what they do. But aside from that, it really shows that the FBI and the Democrats have no fear or little to no fear of any kind of repercussions whatsoever. Because why else would they be emboldened suddenly to say, yep, we did it to Trump, now we're going to go after, well, other people, specifically in this case, Republican Scott Perry's phone? Well, why do they have little to no fear? Well, I think that's answerable in the form of, well, Republicans have been nothing but lip service for a very long time. In fact, while a lot of the stuff that they're saying is really good and I agree with it, I do get the feeling that right now I'm not seeing much action. I'm seeing a lot of lip service. They really are all talk and they haven't been responding. Here's a little bit of what I'm talking about here. Take a look here. Here's Kevin McCarthy. Not that what he said is wrong. I agree 100%, but I feel like they're just talking the talk again, right? Attorney General Garland, preserve your documents and clear your calendar. I've seen enough. The Department of Justice has reached an intolerable state of weaponized politicization. When Republicans take back the House, we will conduct immediate oversight of this department following the facts and leave no stone unturned. AG General Garland, preserve your documents and clear your calendar. Now I'm going to hit a pause. This is a threat based off of the future. If we win the House and the Senate, then we will do this. Well, what if you don't win the House and the Senate? Now, I don't believe that that's necessarily the case, but I think we're going to take it. But what if we don't? Then that means nothing happens to the FBI? Nothing at all? Is this the kind of lip service? Is this why the FBI feels emboldened? Here's some more of our leaders, Republican leaders. Here's Steve Scalise. Let's be clear. This is a brazen weaponization of the FBI by Biden's DOJ against his political opponent, and it is, while giving their political allies free passes. It's exactly why the IRS should not get an army of 87,000 more agents. House Republicans will hold them accountable next year. Next year. And I'm going to assure you that next year is based off of if we win the House and Senate. Well, I'm just going to play devil's advocate. What if we don't? Again, what if we don't? Are you not going to do anything, Steve Scalise? It's just going to be allowed to continue? And speaking of the IRS, by the way, let's just add a little bit of fuel to the fire. If you were serious about stopping the 87,000 IRS agents from, if you were serious about stopping this bill by Democrats with the 87,000 IRS agents, then maybe you would take action by withholding the budget. Hey, there's things you can do. How about you make a promise in writing to the American people that you will repeal this if indeed you are elected to the House and Senate? How about that? But hey, there's not one word. Instead, they're just saying, this is why they shouldn't do this. How about you do something like acting instead of just lip service? I don't know about you, but I am really tired of lip service. I don't want to push it off. And maybe this will happen. Maybe this won't happen. But if. I think there are actually things that we can do at the state level, right? But let's go on to some more of our leaders here. Here we have Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. He just didn't answer a question. In the beginning, he didn't answer a question about the FBI search of Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence. Let's just ignore that question. In other words, I don't give a rat's butt. I don't give a rat's. Oh, and then he backtracked out of a little bit of outrage. Here we have Fox News. McConnell addresses raid on Trump's home. Says the country deserves a thorough and immediate explanation. Well, wait. That just came a little bit later. But hey, we need an explanation. We just need to know why and what it's about and why it happened. Never mind the fact that they have been purposefully going after the president. Hey, they wrote, let's just talk about the Christopher Steele dossier, the DNC, the money from the Hillary campaign, some kind of planted evidence, if you will. I don't put it past the FBI to plant evidence anymore. I have no faith in the organization. That's why I think they should all be fired. We should dissolve, get rid of the entire department. We don't need it. They've become politicized and they've become weaponized. They are not what they were originally intended, or at least fire a chunk of them that have been involved in this. Too many things have gone wrong. So then I have a question, right? Instead of acting, right? Instead of a lot of our Republicans taking actions now, they threaten later, right? And they also work with Democrats on bills such as, well, this Build Back Better 2.0, Inflation Not Reduction Act. Let's just work with them on things that will, implement 87,000 IRS agents into the U.S. to go after the middle class. Yeah, I do believe that's it. And my answer is this, either Republicans are in on it, they're really okay with it, but they have to do lip service to their base, or They just really don't care. Yeah, we don't care. It is what it is, and this is maybe what we want anyway, right? So my next question is, what do we do? Do we really have to wait, a whole year to do something? Is there anything we can do right now to fix the corruption and the weaponization of organizations like the FBI, the DOJ, that have literally been taken over by the Democrat Party? Is there anything we can do? And guess what? I do believe there actually is. For starters, and I'm going to give some of my opinion here, we have to take on the problem at state level. We already have the power. There's a good about half the states here that have a majority Republicans in office, and we could immediately take action instead of just lip service. We can do something at the state level. And one of the things that we can do at the state level, and I'm referencing my notes here, but we can block the FBI from politically persecuting people in our state. Well, gee, that's a novel thought. In other words, our federal government is broken. They're not going to be able to be fixed alone at the ballot box. In fact, the American people can't do anything about who's elected into the FBI, the DOJ, and all these federal organizations. We can't fix that unless we get a president in or somebody who is willing to fire a lot of those people and pass the legislation needed to do that. But right now it is broken, so we have to act at the state level. Therefore, legislators need to convene an emergency session right away and pass laws that bar the FBI from coming into their state and going after political dissenters. No, FBI. You're not allowed in my state. You're a weaponized organization. You're not going to be allowed in here to go after people that you are attacking politically because you don't like what they have to say. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but we're at that level because that's what they're doing. There is one rule for the Democrats and one rule for the Republican, and the rules aren't even. If not, Hillary Clinton, Hunter Biden, James Comey, Andrew McCabe, there's a bunch of them that would already be behind bars, but they're not. Loretta Lynch, nothing. Instead, Republicans can do the same things that Democrats do. They go to jail, they get in trouble, but the Democrats don't. We have to put into place a law at the state level, barring the FBI from coming into our states and arresting who they want based off of political dissent, right? In fact, they're already doing something kind of similar over in Oklahoma. Yes, it exists. Yes, this can happen. Yes, contact your governors, your state representatives immediately to get something like this. And if we don't start pushing the idea, then we're not going to get anything accomplished. Here it is, Oklahoma Senate. Now, this was filed January 4th, 2022. A senator there files a bill prohibiting feds from transporting January 6th political prisoners through Oklahoma, citing government concerns of the federal government violating the rights of the people. Senator Nathan Dam, Republican Broken Arrow Field Senate Bill 1166, to prohibit political prisoners from being transported through Oklahoma. We've seen hundreds of American citizens being politically targeted by the feds in this rogue regime. Many of them have their rights that are guaranteed in the Bill of Rights denied to them. This bill, the Prohibition on Political Prisoners in Oklahoma Act, would define a political prisoner as a citizen of the U.S. who has been arrested, charged, or convicted of any crime other than a felony relating to the U.S. Capitol on J6. It's well past time to stand up to this political thuggery. It exists. It can happen. We can do it. At the state level, I cannot stress that enough. And remember, this isn't about Donald Trump. It's about you and me. That's who they really want to control. Why do you think the Biden administration is having the FBI pad their domestic extremist numbers? Why do you think the FBI has listed the Gadsden flag and the Betsy Ross flag and the Second Amendment? And if you think Ashley Babbitt or Lavoy Vinicum were martyrs, that somehow makes you a militia violent extremist. By the way, if you want more information on all of that, I've been covering this in detail. RestrictiveRepublic.com. Right now, I'm still offering $3.99 per month for the entire first year. Use the coupon code FJB. I've got some major reports that you're going to want to see on there that are exclusive to restricted alternative platforms. Get to RestrictedRepublic.com. I cannot stress that enough. But bottom line, we can do it. They're not after Trump so much as they're after you and I, right? Again, who's the number one terrorist threat from the Biden administration? Trump supporters. That's who they're attempting to paint us as. And that's who they are attempting to paint us as. The number one terrorist threat. And he's using his federal organizations, FBI, DOJ, to do that. This is why we need to act. Number two, the second thing that we can actually do. Some of you may have differential opinions on this, but I think we've kind of crossed this point. I used to be totally against it. And now I'm like, well, I think it's much needed right now, especially in Republican states in light of everything going on. I think we need some kind of citizen posse or maybe even a state guard. I know over in Florida they were implementing the state guard there, but I think we need citizens working together, say with the sheriff's department, with the police department, or with a state guard to defend, maybe really outline what their goal and purpose is, but it would have to be really stated to defend people who are these political dissenters or political prisoners, if you will, by the feds, by the FBI, by the federal department. We need people to protect those who they're trying to arrest or trying to take away based off of their political views. So we need some kind of base in the states, because a law alone does not suffice if you have no force to protect those people. And look, we can't rely on the police department to do that, because they're going to be doing everything else. And I don't want to take away from the job of the police department. That's their job. We have to have some kind of force to say, look, we have a force that protects these people here in our state, because if we don't have a force behind the legislation, they're just going to run wild and do it anyway. So that's why we need some kind of citizen posse. And I would sign up for that, by the way. I would be part of the citizen posse for that reason, or some kind of state guard to have that in place. So not only that, but there is one thing, and I'm going to say a third thing, but there is one thing our congressional leaders can do at this time, rather than just talk the talk. I think that they can put everything in writing, in an actual pledge form to the American people. They can swear under oath, and maybe even, and this is a maybe, but maybe even give themselves some kind of penalty or punishment if they don't follow through. But they need to put themselves under pledge, under oath, in writing to the American people that they will either A, fire people who were involved within the FBI. I'm all for dissolving and just getting rid of the organization, firing all of them and rehiring new ones if they want to do that. If they have to keep it, fine, fire all of them, get new ones. Or severely slashing the budget. Make the budget so that it's only specified in certain areas that are very clear, but make sure the budget doesn't go to things like, going after patriots and people and parents who are just standing against school boards for things like, critical race theory, when they haven't done anything violent, when they haven't committed any crime. They're just up there voicing their opinion. They should never be a target of the FBI. So severely slash their budget and specify the areas that it needs to be laid out. And if you're not willing to do that as an elected official or an upcoming elected official, then you should be elected out by we, the people, period. We, the people, elect them out. We have the right to do that. We have the power to do that. Write your legislators, write your governors, let them know that we need to create these laws that bar the FBI from apprehending political prisoners or even really operating in our state altogether. We need to do that. Contact them now. Let them know how you feel. After all, as a reminder, according to the Biden administration, the way that I see it, in my opinion, we are the number one terrorist threat to them. And that's all it's been about. It's been about you. It's not just about Trump. It's not about Trump. It's about us, the American people, our right to our political views as well. We don't live in a third world country, but they're definitely trying to do that. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven signing out.